Assalamu alaikum, I'm Abdul Haseeb, and today what concerns us is public speaking. Public speaking, what is it? Public speaking is personal empowerment, is a means of personal empowerment because it has proved to be personal empowerment and has played a very decisive role, in civic engagement throughout history. Throughout history. Public speaking isn't that odd. You must have done it. Your classroom speech, everyone has done it, and I'm certainly talking about that thing that good morning, assalamu alaikum, my name is this, and today my topic is this and that, and we start. That is public speaking. We do express ourselves in front of the classroom, in front of our peers, in front of our friends, in front of our classmates. That is public speaking. Obviously, that is personal empowerment, that is civic engagement, that is. But today we're talking about the words. Today we're talking about the speaker now. Today the things are different. Because what concerns us is not the classroom speech. Because that must have given you the ritual, the practice to present yourself skillfully, to organize your ideas, to research on topics, which is important, which is valuable. That is. But the point over here is that have you engaged with people? Because there's certainly a time in history, in future, in past, in present, that public speaking will hit you. Public speaking will hit you and you'll need it. You'll need an effective supply of it. And you already need to start writing the script. Already. Because there will be a need. Somewhere, anywhere. That could be even a ceremony, a wedding ceremony, anything. A presentation at the office, in the school. You're a teacher maybe. Maybe you come back to the classroom. Well, let's just put that aside. Oh, let's put that in again. That classroom has given you the confidence because the main cause of public speaking, the main restraint, the main obstruction, the main hindrance, what is it? Stage fright? And your classroom has given it to you. But once again, your classroom is the thing that'll let you go away with it. Because if you start speaking in front of your classroom, in front of your classmates, that is a way to gain confidence, to make your nervousness work for you instead of working it against you. That's turning the tables. We are turning the tables aside. We're using the enemy's pot to make the supplies. We're using it. Since we've overcome the stage fright, how do we overcome it? Because once you give your speech, you take a step forward. You reach forward. You go forward. How? Because you visualize a successful speech given. You visualize it. You have a thorough preparation. You think positively. You've imagined how you're giving the speech, how you're delivering it, and you have successfully given it instead of laughing to those funny faces made. Instead of laughing, you have successfully visualized it. That's when you think positively. That's when you have a thorough preparation. That's the hard work. That's the art of public speaking. When you think positively, when you know that you have given the speech, when you know that you have delivered the words. The point over here is, the main point, the conclusion over here is that do not visualize. Keep this in mind, that it's not a performance, that you must do everything perfectly. Make it a communication. Make it a communication, a mutual conversation between the peers and friends. Don't think of it as a world-class performance that has to be given, in which everything has to be very scripted, in which everything has to be written, in which everything has to be planned. Everything has to be planned, but everything must have a connection. Everything mustn't be one-sided. Make it a conversation, because there are similarities between public speaking and daily conversation. But public speaking is also different. Public speaking is also different. Why is that so? It's always the words that you have to deliver. Why is that? Well, we have reasons for it. Why is daily conversation something else and public speaking is something else? First, public speaking, it usually imposes strict time restrictions, and it usually requires a more detailed preparation than a daily conversation does, right? It requires a thorough preparation. Second, what does it require? It requires mentality. It requires the positive mentality. It requires action. It requires commitment. It requires putting things to work. Because if you're still, biting your nails off, if you're still doing the upper left lip thing and you're still nervous, that is second step. That is something that you have to. I don't know anyone who has this type of nervousness in daily conversation. Are you biting your nails in daily conversations? It's always in public speaking. That's a difference. That certainly is. What's more, obviously, the biggest difference is that the method of delivery is different. It's entirely different. Because the effective speakers, the ethical speakers, they try to turn their volume up, turn their volume down, in accordance with their audience, the large audience, the small audience. And they try to keep their physical mannerisms neutral. They try to make it very accurate. Something, the verbal habits, something like that. They try to make them mutual. They try to take a connection, because they do not want to offend their listeners. They do not want to offend their audience. Who wants to? Because the listening is also an art, and listeners are also doing the work. They're also doing the work. You must keep this in mind. They're also doing the work. When there are no listeners, what's the point of speaking? There is no term known as public speaking if there is no public. If there are no listeners, if there's no audience, if there's no classmates, if there's no friends. There's no point of public speaking. And then, what are we doing? Because, let me tell you, the walls, they're certainly not interested in what you have to say. I'm telling you this. And even if the wall is colored with your favorite paint color, it's also not interested. The people, they are. They are interested. Make them interested. And how do you do that? Keeping in mind the verbal habits. Keeping in mind those physical mannerisms. Now, as I said, that people, they're also doing something, right? They're also not just sitting there. They are listening to you. They're hearing each and every word that comes out of your mouth. How does it come out? When does it come out? Because public speaking, it's a mixture. It's a mixture of 7 elements. I have 7 elements with me. The first, obviously for public speaking, it won't exist without the speaker. Then the speaker has the message. The message through a channel. The channel, where does that come from? The audience. What does the audience give? Feedback. And then there is interference. There is interference, and then there's a situation. These are the 7 elements that consist of public speaking. Now, putting it into action, let's put this into action. a speaker. That's our first element. The speaker is the person who initiates a public communication transaction. The person who initiates. Whatever he communicates is the message. Now, the message comes from a particular channel. Who hears that message? The person who it is conveyed to, the person who's communicated to, is the audience. And then we have what? The feedback provided to the speaker. That's the fifth element. And interference could be anything that impedes the communication to the audience, that obstructs. Because obviously when you're giving feedback, there probably would be an interference. So that is interference. Then we have a situation. What is situation? Situation is the time or place, wherever or whenever the public speaking is commenced. Whenever the process of public speaking goes on. Now these several elements, they work together to determine what? The outcome by any instance of any speech communication. Any. They work together. And these are important. You have to keep this in mind. The other thing, the other part, the people in front of you, the people hearing you out. You have to also give the other speakers, obviously you will always be a listener as well. And if you're not, that's a really bad thing. Always accord the other speakers that courtesy, that attentiveness which you expect, which you demand from your listeners. Always. And leave the ethnocentrism. Leave it that your culture is superior to all the others. Because the diversity of the modern world, it has reached to a considerable peak, right? And I'm sure, I hope, that wherever you're publicly communicating, there will be people from different cultural backgrounds. There will be people. And if you put in the ethnocentrism, the belief that your culture is superior to theirs, would you think that they would sit on that chair and hear what you want to say? Just put yourself in their place. If someone is going against your culture, about which you're so passionate about which you are so trustworthy about which you believe in, would you hear them out? No, obviously not. So you also have to give the listeners their rights. Their attentiveness, their courtesy is yours. It's in your hands, not in theirs. But the people think that listening is very easy. Listening is something that we sit there, we hear the words, we have heard them before as well, only in a different order, only at a different place, only from a different person, only at a different time. Listening isn't that easy. And most people, what are they? They're poor listeners. They are poor listeners. Let's come to the point, to the main point. Why are they poor listeners? Because you'll be listening me, right? Let's come to the main point. Distractions. They're easily distracted. Easily their thoughts wander. Easily their thoughts merge. They collide with each other. They multitask. Although multitasking is good at certain points, but there's a point when you need to hear out what people want to say. And then there's also this thing that people judge. People judge the others by their appearances, by their manner of communicating their message to you. People judge. And that's what we want. Not at all. We don't need that. If you're looking that guy, if you don't like his shirt, if you don't like his hair, or if he does not have the